And welcome back to the Bob Donewald Show. I'm your host, Al Shepston. The Redbirds are 1-1 since we last met after going 2-0 in the Valley with wins over Bradley University and Tulsa. The Redbirds dropped a home game to Wichita State. It was a close game at times against Wichita State, but for the most part, the Shockers dominated on the defensive end of the boards, or rather the defensive Redbird boards, and got time and time again got a number of shots against Illinois State, and we'll see those in the highlights. We also have player profile for you today, and the subject for today will be Jeff Harris, the three-point expert for Illinois State, and then after that we'll show you highlights of the Tulsa win. All of that and comments from head coach Bob Donewald coming up in just a minute.
Goal is excellence. Those that are willing to meet the challenge are rare. But at Illinois State University, the commitment to excellence is strong, whether it's on the court or in the classroom. And the Redbird Club is helping to meet that goal. The Redbird Club is committed to helping athletes excel in their game and in their studies. But we need your help. Whether you're an alumni or simply a Redbird fan, join the Redbird Club and be committed to excellence. Become a member and meet the challenge today.
And we're back with head coach Bob Donewald. The Redbirds came off of a loss to Wichita State Shockers. Pretty good team when you think about it. 7-5 record going into the game. That's somewhat deceiving, and I said this before the game, because they lost to Purdue in overtime. They also lost two other overtime games, lost to Southwest Missouri State and Bradley on the road. So really a pretty good team.
Well, not only that, but their loss to Bradley, Al, if you reflect back upon it, Radunovich only plays 16 minutes because he goes down with an injury. Prelo just has a miserable evening. When we started the ball game off with a steal, I thought we might be in a pretty good position because I wanted to be aggressive with our play. But they came back last night, and although Greer played excellent basketball against against Bradley, he played well against played well against us last night. Radunovich, although not, I don't think quite at full strength, was much better, and Prelo had an excellent ball game. And as a result of that, then, I'd say that they were probably playing about as well as they have played, and they were quick, they were aggressive, they were assertive, and they created a lot of problems for us.
That was a scary moment right there. I showed that because Matt has had injury problems, and he turned his ankle, didn't step on anybody, just simply rolled over on it, and I was a little worried that he might have re-injured that stress fracture at the time.
No, yeah, I saw the ankle at the time, and I knew that exactly what it was, and of course he's had a chronic problem with both of them and has them actually very heavily taped and wrapped for every practice or any kind of physical activity. And that problem just isn't going to go away. We're just going to continue to have that problem as long as he plays basketball. But their defense was aggressive. I thought their defense took us out of a lot of things. They were able to get the ball off the boards. There's Greer getting the ball back into the basket. That created problems. They were able to get to the free throw line much more than what we were, 23, I believe, to 9. It was just a difficult evening for us. We did not shoot the ball particularly well in the first half, although we shot the ball better in the second half. They shot the ball 50% in the first half and improved that to 60% in the second half.
Now, at this stage, it was 20-5. Made a good run at them at one stage in the game until we pulled within 4.
We got within 4, and then we had the ball. But we turned the ball over. And ironically enough, I said in the press conference last night, our turnovers were a more significant factor, even though we had less of them, simply because they converted our turnovers into baskets, and I don't think we were able to do that with theirs.
Well, you count the number of times they converted turnovers into baskets and their offensive rebounds into baskets. It's really hard to win with
that. And you get to the free throw line 23 times to 9, and you out-rebound your opponent 33 to 19. You put yourself in an incredible bind relative to trying to win a basketball game.
One of the things I thought they did particularly well on offense was they would back cut a lot. And although I thought we stopped it at times, we did get burned a couple of times.
We got burned a couple times, and we just didn't rotate over or recognize those situations nearly as well. And we were aware of it. We just didn't handle it as well as what we should have.
Because of their quickness, when we're on defense, we seem to have a hard time not only staying with them, but they seem to put us in the positions where we have to make quick decisions. The Redbirds know it's coming up ahead of time, and just from watching the highlight tapes and what you guys were putting together, I saw a couple of things that you could see them coming ahead of time, but we just couldn't react to them.
No, I thought we were about a half a count or a half a step behind, and I think that's symptomatic of how the whole game went. But by the same token, I think it's to their credit in that they were just a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker, and were able to create more problems. But you've got Hill out on the floor, you've got Greer out on the floor, you've got Griffin out on the floor, you've got really good athletes. That was a big basket right there by Greer, putting them back up 7 when we were down 4, and as a result of that, Cooper 14 was another very good athlete. They just had more good athletes out on the floor who played well.
We're not really surprised, though, because going into the season, Bradley was picked to finish 1, and Wichita State picked to finish number 2. So we kind of expected something like this.
You know, Al, the interesting thing about this entire basketball team of Wichita's, with the exception of Cooper now, these kids were all there during Smithson's last year. So this is their 3rd year, and they'll have 1 more year. Radunovich was there. The 2 Prelos were there. Greer was there. Griffin had already signed and was all set to come there. And so it's a team that's had plenty of time to put it together, and I think that team will do nothing but get better.
So the Redbirds are now 2-1 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Later on in the show, we'll show you the conference standings, and we'll also look at the highlights of the Tulsa win at Horton Fieldhouse. But coming up next will be the player profile. Back in just a minute.
Well, this year, basically, I'm relied upon to get the ball in the basket whenever the situation may arise. I'm always looked to score whenever I have the ball, or to create something for the inside offense, or to drive and penetrate and kick it out to an outside man. Basically, I'm there to score. Yeah, well, I think that's something the coach and I both talked about, and it was something I needed to add to my game, simply because as I scored more from the perimeter, guys were belling me up a lot more and a lot closer to not allow me to get my shot off. And with my development of my drive, they have to play me a little bit more honestly. And I think that is something I especially worked hard over the summer so I could have going into my senior year. And I think so far this season I've used it to my advantage in several situations. Right, Coach says I have an awfully long range. I don't know how long my range is, because I feel comfortable in a game shooting from just about anywhere within a 25-foot range. But it is something I concentrated between my sophomore and junior year, and the increase there I thought was very significant to my production as a player. And then going into this past summer, I thought, well, people are going to know I'm going to be able to shoot from the 19-foot, 9-inch line. I thought, if I can develop it even farther, then maybe there'll be a few opportunities where I'll be able to get a couple shots just by catching the defense off guard, thinking that I won't shoot the ball that far. And it has happened a few times this year. Yeah, I knew where I was, but like I said before, it's a feeling that a shooter has, and if he's confident that he can shoot from that distance, as I practice it in practice often, and I knew where I was, and I knew that there was no way that they were going to come out that far thinking I wouldn't shoot. So, like I said, it's an element of surprise if you have that range and ability to shoot from that far. I think this team is developing good chemistry. I think the 4 seniors have come to the forefront. As Coach said, as the team goes, the seniors go, vice versa. I think the 4 seniors, if you look at their statistical production, I think have done as much as the 4 seniors did when I was a freshman. But I think the difference lies right now is the contribution between the 2 bench years. I think our bench right now is not giving us as much as what the bench gave those 4 seniors our freshman year. And I think that, that has a big significance in the win-loss record. But I think overall, I think this team is growing with every game. I think it has the ability to win a lot of games, and I think it has the ability to run for the Missouri Valley Championship if we can be consistent and come in and play every game. Yeah, my studies have been important to me ever since I came to that point in my life where I was competing in basketball and also in school. It's something that has been brought to me through my parents and their values, and same with my brothers and sisters. It's something that I take great pride in, and it means as much to me to get an A on a test as it does to score 20 points and win a basketball game. I put them both that high of a priority in my life, but I have the ability to separate the two and concentrate on one and not let one affect the other. Well, I think just the level of consistency is something I'm really trying to concentrate on. And my ball handling and passing and being able to use my being a shooting threat to help the other players, to be able to find that open man when their man rotates out on me. And then the defensive aspect, I think that I've made great strides in that area since my freshman year, and it's just something that I continue to work on every day. And I'm never going to be a great defensive player, but I think I can help the team just by being more of a team defensive player. I really like to take charges, and that's something that I feel like never really goes noticed. But it's a defensive play that really helps the team a lot. And I just think that, being not satisfied is just a motivational factor to keep on going forward, to strive for higher goals.
With the Redbirds being 2-1 in the Valley, the Redbirds won the home opener of the Missouri Valley Conference against Tulsa. The Golden Hurricane came in here struggling a bit, but still a team with good athletes. And even though, as a team, didn't shoot particularly well going into the game, I thought the defense really did a great job of stymieing them totally in the first half.
The thing I was most disappointed in, the score was 29-13 at halftime, and the thing I was most disappointed in was that we didn't have about 10 more points on the board, because then I thought we would have put them in an incredible bind, and they would have just had to play almost perfect basketball in the second half to even have a chance to win the ball game. Needless to say, especially Matt Taphorn was significantly better in this particular contest relative to his shooting, and it just gives you an indication of once you get some scoring, what it could be. Now, Jeff didn't have a very good first half and really didn't get on track until late in the contest, but Matt found different ways to score and was able to get the ball in the basket with pretty good regularity, and that really helped us. Now, again, if we'd have been able to put about 10 more points on that basket on the board, and we'd have gone in with about a 30-point margin, it's just awfully difficult to get back into a contest. But like ourselves last night against Wichita, or in this particular contest, Tulsa makes a run at us, ultimately gets the lead, isn't able to hang on to it. We get Jeff to the line, I think, more often than he's ever been in his life. And as a result of that, I really think that helped get him into his rhythm, where then he knocks in a couple of critical three-point shots in the second half as we regain the lead, regain momentum, and go from there.
I thought Tulsa's trapping-type press defense bothered us more than Wichita State did, and I thought that's what helped get Golden Hurricane back in the game.
Well, I don't disagree with you there at all, and I think it was a result of a couple of things. I think we, again, were just about a step behind in those situations, and that can happen to you at times when you get a big lead. And then I just thought they really just did a heck of a job of coming at us and trapping, and we just kind of got caught flat-footed and really didn't make some of the decisions well that we should have. That's unbelievable. You can get banged that hard, and it's incidental contact.
Right.
I guarantee you one thing. If it had been Stevie Alford, there'd have been a foul called a heck of a lot quicker when he was playing at Indiana. And it amazes me the way they allow people to bang Jeff a lot. And he's a slow kid anyway. If you are allowed to bang and bump and hold him, you really take away from what little bit of an advantage he has in trying to set you up and run off screens.
Last night, the Wichita State announcer, Bob Ertigal, who does some games on the network level, I said to him, boy, the Golden Hurricane play hard. And he said that's what conference play is all about. And I guess that's really what it is day in and day out.
No question about that. And that's why I'm surprised anytime somebody complains about our style being a Big Ten style. Our style is, I think, the way you got to play if you're going to have any kind of chance for success. And I was particularly surprised at his comments, especially from, see, that's one of those shots I was talking about when Jeff got into his rhythm. If you think this is physical, you should have been there when Lamb and Cornley and Zwart and Mullane were around, because we just kicked the tar out of people those days. And hopefully someday we'll get back to a point where we are, or where we were. But I don't think Tony and Cliff are ever going to be those kinds of players. Now Gerard and John and Sonny and those kind of people may ultimately get to that point.
Tulsa, although the record doesn't show it at this point, could be a factor in the race before the season's over.
You know, they have one of the premier players in Moore, and they have such a good collection of athletes that can run and jump and create problems for you, and they're deep enough and versatile enough where they can create problems for you. I agree with you. Don't be surprised if they make a run at it here in the second half.
Well, right now the Redbirds are 2-1 on the season, rather in the Missouri Valley Conference. We'll come back and look at the standings and also look at some of the schedule coming up in just a minute. Well, the Redbirds are 2-1 in the Missouri Valley Conference, and I think if you look at the standings, Coach, maybe not a surprise to some, but really kind of too early to tell what the overall effect is going to be.
No, but I thought it was a significant loss for us, Al. You hit it right on the head. Wichita was ranked second in the preseason, and deservedly so. I think they have a very fine basketball team. We have them at our place. If we beat them, they've already lost it in Peoria. That's significant as you get down the road. This early, no. If they stumble and fall somewhere they shouldn't, well, then you make it up. But I thought it was significant and disappointing from that standpoint.
Well, the schedule coming up now may be somewhat of a benefit because coming up next will be Indiana State. There's a 9-day, I want to call it a rest period, although you do work out. You won't be playing an opponent in that 9-day. That's somewhat longer than usual. What do you start working on at this point? Do you start preparing right away for Indiana State, the next team coming up?
No, I don't think so. I think what we're going to do right now is try and give a 24 to 48-hour rest period here and see if we can recover with Taphorn's injury and give Blair a little bit more time and give Cliff Peterson some time to recover, and then regroup and go back after it and spend about 4 or 5 days in preparation, as well as take care of some of those other things you think you need to.
Healing from the bumps and bruises could be a primary benefit for the Redbirds at this point. There seem to be a lot of them this year, but I'll tell you what, we're going to read a letter from a fan coming up in just a minute and then tell you how you can win a Converse bag in just a minute.
Goal is excellence. Those that are willing to meet the challenge are rare. But at Illinois State University, the commitment to excellence is strong, whether it's on the court or in the classroom. And the Redbird Club is helping to meet that goal. The Redbird Club is committed to helping athletes excel in their game and in their studies. But we need your help. Whether you're an alumni or simply a Redbird fan, join the Redbird Club and be committed to excellence. Become a member and meet.
This is the portion of the show where we read letters from any of our fans who are watching, and if we do read your letter on the air, you have a chance to win a Converse bag. We have our first letter this week, and the first letter comes from Bloomington, Illinois. It comes from Randy, and Randy says in his letter, even though ISU does not recruit blue-chip players, it is his opinion that Bob Donewald gets more out of his players than anybody else. Now, here's his question. Other than the obvious athletic skills, Coach, what other attributes are you looking for in a player that you are recruiting?
I think that the most significant factor, and this is often difficult to evaluate, is how competitive is the youngster? How tough-minded is he? How will he respond to the direction that you want to take him? How willing is he to work hard? If you get what we call a soft athlete, they're very frustrating to work with and very, very difficult to deal with. They just don't have the necessary motivation to compete at this level, to be good, and to continue to carry your team. They may have a good win or a good game once in a while, but they just don't stay with it. That is the most important commodity a youngster can bring to you. And ironically enough, that's the most important or the most difficult commodity to evaluate. If you can get that, you've got to compare. I don't care if he's slow. I don't care if he can't jump. I don't care if he can't shoot. If he's got a basketball feel and he's got that internal or intensity about him, by golly, he can make a heck of a contribution. Other than that, I would say the skills necessary to play your position.
You can't really rely totally on what the high school coach might say about him, because the coach might have a different style than yours, and it just might not mesh.
Oh, without question. And style isn't the most important. You know, I've brought kids in that have played nothing but zone and have walked the ball up the floor, or have played all kinds of pressing and run all the time. But if they've got that willingness to drive and push and and really work at the game, they'll adjust and adapt. So that the style isn't the most important. What is important, though, you talk about programs, is what kind of program did the youngster come out of? Did he come out of a program where it's laxed, where it's soft, where the youngster isn't pushed, where the youngster accountability isn't there? And if that's the case, hey, you aren't going to change the leopard spots. You're going to continue to have those kinds of problems with youngsters. And unfortunately, once in a while, you get enticed at, well, take a chance. Mm-hmm. And usually 99.9% of the time it backfires in your face, and they ultimately go somewhere else where they can theoretically have more fun.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Randy, for writing our letter this week. And in return, you will get this Converse bag. As a matter of fact, we'll mail this very bag to you.
Hey, our team uses those on the road. Those are excellent bags.
Those are nice. I'm going to win me one by writing next week. If you would like to write, here's the address where you can write to. It is the Bob Donewald Show at 1202 West Division in Normal, Illinois. Again, the Bob Donewald Show, 1202 West Division in Normal, Illinois. Write that in care of Telecable. And if you do, and we use your letter on the air, you'll receive this Converse bag free as a courtesy from the Bob Donewald Show. Again, that's our show for today. The Redbirds in the Missouri Valley Conference are 2-1 after losing to Wichita State. The two wins have come against Tulsa and Bradley. Next game will be 9 days from now, or rather it'll be 9 days from the last game against Southern Illinois, and then they take, rather, Indiana State. Then they take on Southern Illinois after that. After that, the Redbirds have to go on the road and take on some Missouri Valley teams and the conference on the road. Very tough to do in this conference. Again, that's our show for today. I'm Al Shepston. See you next week.